So there's a saying that is sort of an accepted understanding of how things work. It is that nothing in this world is free. Everyone who tells you that something is free is actually selling you something. And I think that's, honestly, I agree with that in a way, because this is how our world works. We know that. We know this is how our world works. In the world system, you become a debtor at every turn. Someone does something, someone gives you, I mean, you know, in the underpasses, we used to have this in Budapest here. You would go through, this person would give you a free postcard, and then they would say, okay, that costs this much money now that you have it in your hand, and I'm not taking it back, you need to pay. It's like, it was kind of like a scam, and it was a great example of this. Nothing is free. Everyone who tells you so is actually selling something. And I understand why that saying took root, and of course, it makes sense. In a way, in this world, you might get helped, but then you owe that person. You now a debtor to that person. And this is why Paul tells us believers in Romans 13:8, owe no man anything save to love one another. And that's a great point. And he says don't be a debtor, but just to love. And he says this because it's very easy. This mentality very easily becomes part of our church culture as we live in a Western society, obviously, and well, I think in any human society, not just in the West. But it easily becomes part of our church fellowship. It becomes part of our church culture, easily, and that is how then. I mean, everyone and everything in our culture, in our world, functions like that around us. So heck, obviously, that's how we must do things also in the church, right? And then, and then Paul says something else. But I look at the world, I look at my daily life, and I think, obviously, I shouldn't expect anything for free, and I shouldn't give anything for free, obviously. You know, that's not how the world works. And then Paul in the New Testament tells us to operate in a very different way. And he says to us that church is not to be a compilation of IOUs. You know, it shouldn't be a group where everybody owes everybody something and they owe back, and that connects us, and we are debtors to each other, and that's how we function. He says, don't add debt. You know, when you do a little bit of help for someone else in the church, in the fellowship, do not add debt to that. Do not say, I do this and then you owe me. Don't do that. Instead, Galatians 5:13, he says, but by love serve one another. So this is a great point, and I think it's a good meditation for all of us to get, you know, rid of some stupidity that kind of seeped in from the world into our fellowship, possibly, because Paul is saying this to you, and he's saying it to me. He doesn't say everyone else should change it. He says, I need to do something about it. You need to do something about it. So you, me, we need to start with ourselves. Do not add debt at the tail end of serving a brother or a sister, but instead add love at the introduction, at the beginning of that service. Okay, so it's not like I serve and then I attach a piece of debt to it, now you owe me, but instead I start with love. I love this brother, I love this sister, so I will serve. And that's the end of the story. There is no then there is no debt added to the tail end of it, but at the head of it there is love, and that's how we live. So in a way we could say love is the solution to that whole debt issue. I serve out of love, not as a job. And that's a beautiful way to live life. And I think a good start for a meditation for you also today. God bless your day.